So the first one, I think this will be like a shorter piece of it, which I wanted to talk about because I've had a few questions about this at the youth levels and older. Is coaches swearing at players, around players, near players, and just language in general. Um, Normally, the comment or the question or the concern I get from the person asking or saying it would be the coach screams and swears at them, like on the negative side of it. There's not really a positive side of it that I get much. So it's either like people don't acknowledge that how the coach is speaking, like they don't care that the coach swears, so they don't say anything about it, or they are saying like something negative, like it's a negative thing. So well, I'll throw it to you first, and then I'll throw my 2 cents in. Like, what do you think about, let's say, swearing in general as the coach, or more colorful language, or however you want to take it?
Yeah. So before I answer the question, I'm going to go and do a little loop here. And I'll say this: amazing to me, or it's not, that what we tolerate in hockey as a parent is not what we tolerate in life.
Oh, yeah, I see where you're going.
So
yeah.
If your teacher, I'm just painting a picture here. If your teacher was at school and every time they got frustrated or they wanted to describe something, they used a cuss word. I don't use that word, by the way. I actually, just to qualify, I swear a lot, like a lot. For some reason, I'm able to clean it up here and pick my spots. But so if your teacher was doing that in class, there'd be a lineup of people complaining that would go to the board because that's inappropriate there. In the hockey rink, it seems to be a little bit more appropriate, and I'm not defending or whatever. It's just seems to be a thing. Now there's going to be some people that say no, never. Some people that says I don't care. Should swear at the kids, and maybe my teacher should swear, and I don't disagree necessarily. But that's the first thing I would say about that is that what we tolerate, or what we tolerate is typically less in some instances at the hockey rink than we do at school and stuff. So now the swearing itself. So I don't know if I'm answering this directly, but it's more to make you think, because this is like I say, to me, coaching is parenting. I'm going to parent a coach right now and say, should I swear in front of the kids? Like, I mean, once you get to a certain age, junior level, it's obviously a little bit more appropriate. But what would you feel better? How do I say this? Is it something that if it bits you in the ass, like that's what you got to look at, is if you do things, if it bites you in the ass, are you going to regret it? Is it just as easy not to say? Or is it, no, how do I say this? Can you avoid doing it? Like, is there repercussions for it? So like, I don't know if that's clear, but like, if you go on a tirade and you got 10-year-olds and you go on a F-bomb tirade, just not at them, just you guys, blah, blah, blah. You need to work your blank asses off. Like, ass for some people is a swear, by the way. But, and whatever, you go on that. Could it be said a different way? Could that come back and bite you? And if a parent came back, or a couple parents, or the board, or whatever, and said, we don't like the language, it's inappropriate, are you good with that? And if you are, then that's who you are, right? And again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Like, so being a dad, I never really hid the way I speak with my kid around. So is that good or bad? I don't know. Some people would just say, "Wow, that's awful. You use the F word in front of your kid." Like, so my philosophy is, he's going to hear it anyway, so I'm not really whatever. But the other thing you got to look at is when the kid looks at you, the kids, do they look at you as, wow, he swears a lot, and maybe that's what all they hear? So does it do more harm than good is the question. Does it do more harm than good? And I would say, and God, I'm not a choir boy, but I would say that if you could find other words to be colorful if you had to, it would probably err on the side of being better than going on an F-bomb, because all it takes is one, right? because like, and it's not because of social media and it because there's cameras everywhere and stuff, but all it takes is one complaint, right? And one complaint can put you in a bad spot or make you realize, oh man, I was like inappropriate, or you say, screw you, screw you, screw you. You guys are like little wussies, so whatever. So I just think, would you do it if you knew that there was a couple people that were very offended by it? So, and that's not to say that you're still not going to do it, but maybe you're just more aware of it. So maybe instead of swearing 20 times in a game, it might be the one time, better than zero. But and I'm not advocating. I'm not telling anybody don't ever swear. Like it's your choice. But like with, as we said about the slap shot on the empty net, there's consequences for every action, right? So if you are an adult coaching kids and you have very colorful language and the consequences are 5 people talking bad about you or wanting you fired or don't, and you're dealing with that issue all the time, then was it worth it? That would be my question. There will be consequences. And and again, I've coached and I've used language that, when I look back or still do today, I go, maybe I've cleaned up a lot. But maybe you didn't need to go there. Because I don't know. Like sometimes you can use it because you just have nothing else to say. Although you could pass me the pen or you could pass me the pen and there's a different tone to it. So sometimes the tone changes it. But yeah, so should you swear or not? I mean, obviously, if you have a choice and respect for everybody, you're going to be in better books with everybody if it's not there, as opposed to being sounding like a sailor.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, for sure. So
Okay.
I think I kind of do the same thing. Like my 2 questions I ask myself, because I swear too, but I'm in no way a trash mouth. Like I'll sprinkle it in. You guys hear how I talk on the pod. That's how I talk in regular life. The odd F bomb comes in here and there, but I basically talk the same way I talk on the podcast. Speak the way I speak. Yeah, speak. Um, so my 2 questions that I ask are, who's my audience? Number 1, and then what is my intention when I'm speaking? So if I'm super intense, as soon as you start adding cuss words or swear words or whatever onto what you're saying, to your point, that can change the delivery of the message. So, depending on the age, depending on the team, depending on the parent group, depending on the environment that you're in, that will trigger certain responses. And if it's not going to be the response that you want, then you should probably make an adjustment. So, for example, when I'm with our U18 team, I more or less talk however I want. And if something's really pissing me off and I get more colorful, I don't think twice about it. I'll say it however I want to say it. And they're old enough where they talk like that anyways already. So it's nothing new. It's nothing shocking. It's nothing surprising to them. And if they told their parents about it, like I'm not hiding it from the parents either. It's like, what you guys, your kids speak like this too, just in case you didn't know. I found myself last night, for example, on the flip side, I had a group of, I think there were 20, 13, 14 girls on the treadmill before we went on the ice. And so what is that? That's 9 and 10 years old. So their parents are sitting here, the kids are on the treadmill, and I'm trying to correct something with their skating, and they weren't getting it. So at one point I said, I'm going to be a pain in your ass about it. And as soon as I said ass, right away, I felt the ooh situation, right? Like, because I could tell by the reaction of the girls, like that was shocking. Like that was like, I said, yeah, that I said this,
Yeah.
that I said ass.
Yeah, so I said earlier, ass
right?
could be offensive.
And I thought nothing of it. Like the parents were sitting here, and the parents didn't really care either. But to me, I was just like, okay, now for the next 7 minutes, the girls are just going to be thinking that I swore.
Yeah. So if you say being a pain in the butt, no one, I know it's nothing, but it's something. If you say pain in the butt instead, or pain in the arse, pain in the rear end,
exactly,
pain in the neck.
Yeah. So, but I could feel it in myself.
Yeah.
I could feel it in myself as soon as I said it, the difference in my audience. So to your point and to what I was saying, those are the 2 questions. Like who's my audience and what is my intention when I'm saying this? The part where I don't think it's really ever appropriate is if you're like beating someone down with it, So if even with my U18 guys, I would never use those kinds of words to make my message more harsh personally at someone. And I think that's where the more problem could be, um, in my opinion, as the coach, is when you're doing it to like berate someone or beat them down or to an individual saying it, because there still is the child adult relationship even when they're 18, 17, 16, 15, when they're old enough where they're still super impressionable, they're still learning and developing, and that's something that can leave an impact. So it's not the same as if you're at work with another adult and you guys get into a yelling match or whatever. It's just not the same dynamic. So you always have to be aware of that to some degree. And I think that's where it gets into the territory where I don't think it's ever really appropriate.